I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all Akim preaching this word in truth and in sincerity and in faith. It's the brother Yeshaya back with another lesson. And the title of the lesson is going to be Obey and it shall go well with thee. Right? So basically, I was reading the book of Jeremiah, and the story in the book of Jeremiah inspired me to do the lesson. Lord willing, you brothers and you sisters are edified. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 9, verse 13. It says, Furthermore, Yahweh spake unto me, saying, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Yeah, our people are very stiff-necked, hard-headed, right? They don't listen. And clearly, you can see that the way our people conduct themselves, they would have to be the Israelites, because over and over again it speaks about the stiff-necked, how stiff-necked the Israelites are, right? And you can see that in the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. In the book of Romans, the 8th chapter, the 16th verse, it says, the Spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. So you can clearly see in the way they conduct themselves that these are the Israelites, right? Because our people, so like I said, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're very stiff-necked people, right? They're not very good at following orders, right? Taking orders, right? Following direction, so to speak, right? Let me see if I look up that word for stiff-necked. So it says obstinate, right? Let me see. Stubborn, right? Stiff of neck. Let me see if I look up that word, obstinate. So it says stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion. Yeah, you can't, 9 times out of 10, you can't tell a so-called black, Latino, and Native American anything, right? You can't change their mind. They're always right in their own mind. It says stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action despite attempts to persuade one to do so. Yes, our people are very obstinate. They're stubborn. They refuse to change their opinion or their choice of action. Yeah, you can clearly see that Jake's an Israelite's actions are gonna lead to his detriment, and you could try to persuade him against it, but he still goes ahead and does it, right? So our people are known to be stiff-necked, rebellious, obstinate, right? They're not good with following orders, right? Because we have countless examples in the scriptures, right? In the book of Romans, the 15th chapter, it says, whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning. There's plenty of times where the Heavenly Father will tell the Israelites to go right, and they always choose to go left, right? Whatever the Heavenly Father tells them to do, they do the exact opposite. And you could see the same spirit is upon them till this day, right? Those of the circumcision and those of the uncircumcision, right? So our people have always been in a very rebellious, hard-headed, stiff-necked spirit, right? So let me read the book of Jeremiah, bring out a couple of precepts, and Lord willing, you brothers are edified. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 38, verse 17. It says, Then said Jeremiah unto Zedekiah, Thus saith Yahweh, power of hosts, the power of Israel, if thou wilt assuredly go forth unto the king of Babylon's princes. Yeah, this is the time where the Babylonians were coming against the Israelites, right? And it says, if thou wilt assuredly go forth unto the king of Babylon's princes, then thy soul shall live, and this city shall not be burnt with fire. Yeah, so the king Zedekiah was inquiring from Jeremiah the prophet what he should do, and or what the Heavenly Father says he should do, and he was letting them know, just obey, right? Just do what you're told, right? Go into the king of Babylon, and the city's not going to be burned, right? He says you're going to live, and the city's not going to be burned. It says, and thou shalt live in thine house, but if thou wilt not go forth to the king of Babylon's princes, then shall the city be given into the hand of the Chaldeans, and they shall burn it with fire. Yeah, so he was letting them know. He gave them a strict commandment, right? Something easy to follow, right? It says, and they shall burn it with fire, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand. Yeah, he's like, look, if you don't do what you're told, if you don't go into the king of Babylon, the city's going to be burned and you're not going to escape, right? It says, and Zedekiah the king said unto Jeremiah, I am afraid of the Jews that are fallen to the Chaldeans, lest they deliver me into their hand and they mock me. But Jeremiah said, they shall not deliver thee. Obey, I beseech thee, the voice of Yahweh, which I speak unto thee. So shall it be well unto thee. And that's basically, this verse was what inspired me to do the lesson, where it says, obey and it shall go well. It shall be well unto thee, right? It says, I beseech thee, the voice of Yahweh, which I speak unto thee. So shall it be well unto thee, and thy soul shall live. Yeah, really, serving the Heavenly Father is very simple, right? The Apostle Gabor often used that acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? Because people try to over complicate the scriptures, right? Make it more complex than it is, right? Really, all you have to do is obey the Heavenly Father, and everything's gonna go good for you, right? But our people are what? They're stiff-necked, they're obstinate, right? They're hard-headed, they always think they're right, and they hate following orders. It says, but if thou refuse to go forth, this is the word that Yahweh have showed me. Yeah, in the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, it says, trust in Yahweh and lean not upon thine own understanding. So our people oftentimes, they believe they know what's best, right? The Heavenly Father will tell them what's best, but they believe in their reprobate minds that they know more than the Heavenly Father. It says, but if thou refuse to go forth, this is the word that Yahweh have showed me. It says, and behold, all the women that are left in the king of Judah's house shall be brought forth to the king of Babylon's princes, and those women shall say, thy friends have set thee on, and have prevailed against thee. Thy feet are sunk in the mire, and they are turned away back. So they shall bring out all thy wives and thy children to thy Chaldeans, and thou shalt not escape out of their hands, but shall be taken by the hand of the king of Babylon, and thou shalt cause this city to be burnt. Yeah, Jake, so-called blacks and Latinos and the Native Americans, they specialize in making a bad situation worse, right? It's like you in a situation, and a police officer pulls you over, right? That's already a bad situation, right? But they like to escalate things, right? You in jail, right? Let's say you in jail for a year, 2 years. While they in jail, instead of behaving themselves, right? A lot of times people get out on good behavior, so they end up getting out sooner than they were supposed to. But instead of doing that, they doing all types of wickedness while they in prison, right? So Jake, our people know how to make a bad situation worse, and this was the same with the king, right? Here it is. There's this powerful nation coming up against you, but instead of obeying the voice of the Lord, he's in his mind, I'm gonna do what's best, right? Instead of obeying the Heavenly Father. It says, let me read this again. It says, so they shall bring out all thy wives and thy children to the Chaldeans, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand, but shall be taken by the hand of the king of Babylon, and thou shalt cause this city to be burnt with fire. Then said Zedekiah unto Jeremiah, let no man know of these words, and thou shalt not die. Yeah, so basically he heard what Jeremiah had to say, and basically agreed with it, right? But then when you go to the next chapter, let me go to the next chapter real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 39, verse 1. In the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it. And in the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up, and all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate, even Negal-Sharezer, Samgarnebo, Salakia for these names, the pronunciation of these names, it says Sarsakim, Rabsaris, Negar-Sharezer, Rabmag, with all the residue of the princes of the king of Babylon. And it came to pass that when Zedekiah the king of Judah saw them and all the men of war, then they fled. So the Heavenly Father told him, all you have to do is turn yourself over unto them, and everything's going to be good, right? But if you don't, the city's going to be burnt. You're going to get caught anyway, and it's going to be worse. If you run, it's going to be worse, right? It says, and it came to pass that when Zedekiah the king of Judah saw them And all the men of war, then they fled and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the king's garden, by the gate betwixt the two walls, and he went out of the way of the plain. But the Chaldeans' army pursued after them and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. And when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. Yeah, so the Heavenly Father told him not to do this, but he still did it anyway, and he got caught, like the Most High told him he would get caught. Right? It's like when our people were in the wilderness, the Heavenly Father sent the manna unto them. He's like, look, on the Sabbath day, don't go out looking for the manna, because I'm not going to send any. Right, I believe on the sixth day he gave them twice as much, but on the Sabbath day they still went out and looked for it. So showing you how rebellious and hard-headed our people are. It says, then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. Also the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah. Moreover, he put out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon. And the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the houses of the people with fire and break down the walls of Jerusalem. Yeah, so because of this king, because of King Zedekiah's disobedience, his stiff-necked, right, because of how obstinate he was, he made a bad situation even worse, right? The city was burnt, the king's house was burnt, his sons was killed before his eyes, the king put out his eyes, right? So we don't want to put ourselves in that situation where we disobey the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and make a bad situation worse, because we know and understand as long as we obey the Heavenly Father, things will go well for us, as it said in Jeremiah the 38th chapter. So this is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 22. And Samuel said, right, this is speaking about King Saul. The Heavenly Father told him to I believe to kill all of the Amalekites, right, to kill the people and to kill their animals, right, to destroy everything basically. And King Saul, right, he kept certain of the animals because he wanted to make sacrifice with it. And then I believe he kept the king alive. I believe his name was Agag, right, if I'm not mistaken, right? But this is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 22. And Samuel said, hath Yahweh as great in delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices? Yeah, so he was given a strict commandment, but he's trying to do what's right in his own mind, right, instead of just obeying, right? All you have to do is obey, right? It was funny because I was thinking of another lesson, and the title of the lesson was going to be something to the effect, just do as you're told, right? Because they always want to question everything. They always want to ask why, right? Or you tell them to do something, they always want to do the exact opposite. Just do as you're told, and everything's going to be good, right? Stop asking so many questions. Stop thinking you're so smart, right? The Heavenly Father has way more wisdom and understanding than you can even begin to imagine. But yet you're, instead of just listening to the Heavenly Father, you're doing what makes sense in your own small little brain. It says, and Samuel said, hath Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Yeah, that's what the Heavenly Father delights in, when you just do as you're told. As in obeying the voice of Yahweh. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Yeah, there's nothing the Heavenly Father finds more pleasure in than obeying him, right? Putting yourself in subjection to his will. It says, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Yeah, when you in that rebellious spirit, that's punishable by death, right? Witchcraft is punishable by death. In the scriptures is saying it's basically the same thing. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Yeah, our people are very stubborn. They don't listen, right? They think they're always right. It says, because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he hath also rejected thee from being king. Yeah, so our people are always doing what's right in their own mind instead of just obeying the Heavenly Father. So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 29 verse 13. It says, wherefore Yahweh said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me. Yeah, so with their words they say that they love the Heavenly Father, but with their actions they show that they don't love the Heavenly Father, right? Because they do what he tells them not to do. It says, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Yeah, our people do, instead of doing what the Heavenly Father tells them to do, they do whatever they want to do, but then they still believe they still want to say that they love the Heavenly Father. They still believe that the Heavenly Father loves them, right? This is the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. It says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High. Yeah, as long as you truly love Yahweh Shem Shai, all things work for your good. All things are going to go good for you as long as you obey the Heavenly Father. This is the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Yeah, that's how we show that we love the Heavenly Father, because love isn't just a word, it's an action, right? In order to prove you love someone, you have to prove it with your actions. And to prove you love the Heavenly Father, you prove it by obeying him. It says, for this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Yeah, the Heavenly Father's commandments are not grievous. They're not complicated. They're not difficult. Right? As long as you do as you're told, right, everything's gonna go well for you. This is the book of Romans again, chapter 8, verse 28. It says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Yeah, no matter how bad a situation may seem, right, the Heavenly Father is always able to deliver you out of that situation, always able to make it a better situation than what it may appear as, right? Daniel, he was a captive in Babylon, but he was still risen because of his obedience to the Heavenly Father. He was risen to great heights, right? Let me read this in Genesis, right? Basically the same thing as Daniel, speaking about Joseph, but let me read the 8th verse. This is Genesis chapter 45, verse 8. It says, so now it was not you that sent me hither, but the Most High. Yeah, speaking to his brothers, he said, look, you didn't sell me into captivity, right? The Heavenly Father did, right? The Heavenly Father is the one that sent me to Egypt, right? He did it for a purpose, right? Because Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, right? And then when he was in his master's house, his master's wife accused him of adultery, right? And then he was thrown into prison, right? So Joseph could have disobeyed the will of the Heavenly Father and done whatever was right in his mind, right? But then things wouldn't have went well for him. But because he obeyed the Heavenly Father and continued to keep his integrity, so to speak, then everything went well for him. And just like Daniel, where I gave the example of Daniel, he also was risen to great heights, right? So let me read this, Genesis 45 and 8. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but the Most High, and he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Yeah, so you compare and contrast, right? Joseph, he made himself subject to the king of Egypt, right? He made himself subject to his master when he was in prison, and both times he was blessed, right? He was exalted to great heights. Even the Heavenly Father is able to turn a bad situation into a good situation, but all you have to do is obey, right? So I'm gonna end it right there. Lord willing, you brothers and your sisters were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Yahweh double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom. To Allah, I can preaching this word in truth and in sincerity and in faith. Shalom.